Hello guys, and last night was really loud in Crimea as Ukrainian drones kept demilitarizing the leftovers of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, targeting the arsenal of the 126th Brigade and also military air bases in Belbek and Kecha. You know, Crimea is Ukraine. This war started with the annexation of the peninsula, weak reaction from the world and from Ukraine too, because we still believed in this escalation management back then. But I am sure this war will also end with the return of Crimea to Ukraine. I was very angry and disappointed to watch Trump's reaction to the failed negotiations in Istanbul. Totally fake, totally unnecessary. But what made me angry as a Ukrainian was his statement that Russia did not take Kyiv just because of the mud on the roads. It is because of the bravery and unpredictable strengths of ordinary Ukrainian people who in hundreds of thousands joined the territorial defense to protect and to return back the temporarily occupied territories. And here I need to remind you again that right now Russia controls less of the Ukrainian territories than at the very beginning of the invasion. Same goes about the Russian territories. Please do not forget about those Ukrainian heroes, ordinary people that stood for their country against this evil that, I am sorry, threatens not just Ukraine, not just Poland or the Baltics, but the United States, Australia too. So let's talk about our successful implementation of the peace plan, and I mean that demilitarization of Russian evil arsenals and airfields in Crimea. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine. Today I am in brave Lviv because I think every inch of Ukrainian territory is brave. Subscribe if you want to see the defeat of the Kremlin, and also share these videos if you share my opinion. Last night was really loud in Crimea. Crimea was meant to be a beautiful resort, a place full of restaurants, hotels, beautiful people, but right now it is occupied by the evil, agonizing Russian Empire, and it was turned since the Soviet times actually into this rusty, rotten military base, starting from the Black Sea Navy that was located there, Russian Black Sea Navy, and finishing with the leftovers of their arsenals and other stuff. What is important? The successful work of the Ukrainian drones, the innovations of the Ukrainian army, the marine drones that perform unbelievable tasks like destroying Russian aircraft, like bombers and helicopters in the air from the water. So with the help of all that innovation, strength, creativity, we managed to destroy the Black Sea Fleet, and it escaped to Novorossiysk in Russia, the leftovers, because the majority of their warships are now the scrap metal on the bottom of the Black Sea. And drones finalized this work by targeting an arsenal of Russia's 126th Brigade of the Black Sea Fleet, and it detonated for hours. It is traditional, so with arsenals, and each of such objects destroyed means lots of innocent Ukrainian lives saved. According to the Russian Telegram channels, there were also a lot of fires and explosions, and now I will read a list of locations in Perevalne, in Yalta, in Gurzuf, in Alupka, near Sevastopol. Near Sevastopol, there are two military airfields, Belbek and Kecha, and they are sometimes used by Russians, so every time we paralyze them for a week, for a month, for half a year, it is always a big victory. It was the greatest mistake one can commit to allow Russia annex Crimea back in 2014. And all those Nobel Peace Prize holding leaders thought that escalation management can work with such war criminals as Putin and unfortunately millions of Russians who support him. But even like it was obvious it will not work, because we had the history of Georgia, we had the history of Chechnya, and oh my God, we have the history of the Soviet Union. But at the same time, even if you don't believe the history, you can believe this modern evidence. After the annexation of Crimea, Russia continued to Donetsk-Luhansk regions, and then after a couple of years to the rest of Ukraine, which surprised the world. And I'm proud to be Ukrainian in the world of this, escalation management. Subscribe and share the videos, like the videos. That's important. Right now in Lviv, I am for Lviv Media Forum. I'm very grateful for the invitation. I've met some amazing people, had an honor of talking with Anne Applebaum today. But people keep saying non-traditional media when talking about YouTube, X, Instagram, and I start to disagree, because the majority, even of those top stars of media, they take information from social media. They follow journalists, but on social media. They watch the world through the filters of social media. I'm not saying it good or bad, but let's be realistic. It is now a traditional media already. So with the support of sharing and spreading the information, we can actually change a lot. And here I need to react. You know that I do not comment much on Donald Trump's speeches because, there is nothing to comment. But I know that all of these negotiations, all of these comments, they are totally fake, and Trump is looking for an opportunity to lift the sanctions from Russia, to start cooperating with war criminals. And it's not just about Ukraine, it's his general attitude to the countries that are smaller than the United States, Russia, and China, and that don't have nuclear weapons, which is bad news for millions and millions and billions of us. But the good news is Trump isn't that strong. He's just about showing off. And at the same time, he keeps undermining and disrespecting good people. And here I'm not talking about Taylor Swift, even though it's ridiculous if it's the real tweet of his where he says that I hate Taylor Swift. It's like, you're a president, you don't have to think about her at all. But when asked about these fake negotiations in Istanbul, he said that Zelensky is wrong. Once again, he did not blame Putin for anything. He blamed Biden. But that's his political fake games. But he undermined the heroism of the Ukrainian people. And I cannot forgive that. Because that were hundreds and thousands of Ukrainian men and women who stood against the evil and who stopped the tanks. It is not the mad of in February, it's not that muddy. And Russia knows the weather in Ukraine, because many of you forget, winters and so on. We are in a close climate zone. Actually, our proximity to Russia is one of the main problems. But this was not bad weather. This was not, by the way, this was not the weapons you later started helping us with. We didn't have them in February 2022. This was the bravery that not many can demonstrate in this modern world. And I will not let anyone undermine that. This is the heroism you have not read in the books yet. You have not watched the movies, because that's a modern war. That's a war that you can observe online, and many will choose to escape. The borders were open. Millions were running away, but millions were stopping Russian tanks. The reason why I started this vlog was actually to explain to you this unknown, invisible heroism of millions of people. Those ladies who stopped Russian tanks, knowing that the tank can destroy that lady in a second, nothing will be left. But what is life if you start obeying to those who deny your existence? What kind of life that will be? This peace at any price is not peace. You don't want peace for Ukraine. You want Ukraine to dissolve, to disappear in the bloody Russian Federation. But what will you get in the result? A satisfied Russia? Russia is never satisfied. That is the unhappiest nation in the world. And their task is to absorb new nations, destroy that nations, and attack next ones. We are prepared to stand. We've demonstrated tremendous, not just heroism and resilience, but also efficiency. And I'm right when I say that right now we control more Ukrainian territories than we did in 2022, and it's not mud, And second, we now control more of the Russian territories than we did in 2022. Could you imagine that? Why Trump isn't talking about that? That is disgusting. Let me know in the comments below what are your thoughts. Remember that we have our live planned for tomorrow, so see you 9 p.m. Kyiv. Prepare your questions. I will be happy to answer and maybe tell you more about the Lviv Media Forum. That was really great that people in times of war are making such very beautiful, serious, well-organized events. Remember to subscribe to my Instagram. I'm sharing more about my Lviv visit, for example, there, my X, my Blue Sky, Discord, and Threads. All the links in the description of this video. Also, a link to our merch shop with lots of items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine, and they are simply stylish and beautiful. And thank you so much for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, but most importantly, thank you for being friends of Ukraine and friends of mine. Slava Ukraini!